on any decision you've got to do with music production or your music career, be like, well, what's the more fun thing to do here? Like if you're sitting there having a mental block or a creative block in the studio, ask yourself what would be fun right now. Time and time again, if I've done it or other people I've seen do it, if they try and write something where they're not having fun, where their soul is not really in it, the art doesn't turn out very good.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Headliner Mindset Podcast. Today's guest is an OG music producer who has been pushing buttons and making beats for many, many years. He had a long and successful career as a touring artist and DJ, playing shows all over the world, and now he runs his own school where he teaches producers how to speed up their process and get tracks done. This is Kleph. My man, welcome to the show. Happy to have you here. Long time no see.
Yeah, thanks, man. Great to be here. Has been a long time. Good to see you as well.
Yeah, I think the last time we saw each other, I believe I brought you in to be a guest speaker and do a Q&A at Icon Collective back when I was teaching there many, many years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember that. That was fun. We were talking a lot about performing on Machina, like finger drumming and stuff, and music production stuff as well, too.
Yeah. And you've always been doing some really cool stuff as an artist, as a DJ, as a producer, and now also like I'm excited to really dig into this conversation because like you're also a coach. Like you're coaching, you're teaching, and that's my background. That's where I come from, teaching music business at Icon, teaching Art of Flow, and now doing this, I don't know, life coaching thing that I'm doing, this artist coaching thing that I'm doing. So excited to share our parallel journeys around that.
For sure. That sounds great, man.
Well, where I would love to start, I was thinking about this before we started. What was the moment that you first knew you wanted to get into production and making music? Like, can you remember a moment where you're like, I want to do that?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely, absolutely. So before I did electronic music production, I'd spent a lot of time being a drummer, and it was a pivot from that. Well, a crossover in a way. I started out playing drums when I was 8. I later got into one of like an out of school band, like my own rock band, well, a couple, but one of them got popular when I was 15. It became kind of my musical life at that point. It was all rock and roll, like punk rock and stuff. We got signed to a major label in Australia, fortunately. We're really lucky with that. Yeah, and we did an album for them for Festival Records. We recorded in the same studio as AC/DC, which is really cool. Yeah. Maybe that's touching on part of it, seeing the whole recording process, and part of that got me interested in it for sure, like the sonics of it. But yeah, after about an album or so, the band eventually broke up later on. But halfway through it, I heard The Prodigy and I heard Square Pusher. Somebody put them on in a car when we're driving around. And I was like, what is this? Because, just recently, we'd recorded our album at this fancy studio at Albert's in North Sydney in Australia. The first day is awesome as a drummer, right? Because all about you. They go in and mic up your kit, and they spend all this time making sure everything sounds great. They move everything around, and, you're just tracking the drums. The whole band plays, but they only record the drums. And you come back into the control room, and you have a listen, and your drums sound amazing. They're so big and loud and awesome, and you're stoked. But then the next day, they do the bass track, and your drums get a little quieter. Next day, they do the guitar tracks, your drums get a little quieter. And then the singer comes in, and by the time it's done, it's like your drums is so far in the distance. And so I hear Square Pusher, and I hear Chemical Brothers and The Prodigy all around this time, and I'm like, their drums are up front. They're so loud. That is my instrument. I need to find out about this. Show me everything about this.
So sick, dude. Yeah, Prodigy I can see how that made that connection for you because they're so punk also. They're so like the energy of rock and roll, but in electronic music. I remember seeing them live and I was like, oh, like this is a band. This is something I'm actually really excited about. And I'm preaching it. I'm hoping for it. I literally want to start one myself, but like live electronic music bands, I think are the future. Like Pendulum, like I'm obsessed with Pendulum.
Oh, I love Pendulum.
Prodigy, where it's like, yo, you're not just DJing, right? You got like 4 or 5 dudes up there all doing things, live drums and shit, singing. Like that's my shit, man. So I get that connection. So what did you do from there? Because what What year was this that you were getting into that? Because this wasn't 2024 where you can download a fucking Ableton and splice and make a song in 45 seconds, right?
I'm going to give away my age here, but it would have been like 1997 or something. Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, different time.
Yeah, exactly. And definitely much harder to find information, especially being in small suburbs of north of Sydney and hearing this music, like, where do I even start? There was nothing like really online about it that I knew of. There was no YouTube or anything. There was no courses, nothing like this. I hardly knew anybody that even did anything like that. I think I went into music stores and just looked at what equipment they had and tried to play with it if I could, or asked if I could read the manuals, and then eventually started figuring out. What was the first thing I started? First thing I started writing it with is the only thing I could afford at the time was there's a PlayStation game called Music, and that was, I don't know, maybe $50, and from there you could sequence electronic music on your PlayStation, only using built-in sounds. You couldn't put your own sounds in there. You could kind of synthesize them, but not really. Oh my God, I would be up to like 3 a.m. every night, just obsessed with that thing, just writing tracks nonstop.
So you're telling me that you started producing on PlayStation?
Yeah, I did. I'd forgotten that even happened until you asked me. I forgot about that. But I was obsessing at the time, thinking I would really love to have a real electronic instruments or something. Because I think there were some computer programs, but they were pretty average. Maybe I had Cakewalk too, and I messed around with that a little bit. But you could actually do a lot on this PlayStation thing. You have many tracks and stuff. It's pretty good. I think the first bit of hardware I got like that was the Roland MC303 Groovebox back in the day. I think I saved up a whole bunch from some kind of part-time job and got a secondhand one and got stuck in and just obsessed, And yeah, again, you would read the manuals backwards, and that's how I would learn. That's how I do sound design. That's how synthesizers work. Because that was the only information. I was just eating it up like a sponge because it was like gold.
Yeah. And then when did you start actually putting out tracks and building an artist project for yourself?
I was writing them in tandem while I was in the band, and I was really enjoying it. Actually, I'd even bring my Groovebox with the drums, and we did a few songs where I'd have like programming something and playing along with it and flicking back and forwards. It was starting to get a bit more electronic infused.
Cool.
And I love that. And I remember a rehearsal looking over at the machine one time being like, I'd love to just do that. I still love the drums. It's great. I mean, I played drums for like 12 years. But I suppose there was a point when the band broke up and I was left with the decision of, okay, do I find another band or do I run with this electronic stuff? And we had a really good dynamic in the band. We never fought. Everybody was a good player. We got along really well. It was very professional. I'd seen how other bands, their dynamics were, and it wasn't, I was in a good lucky spot. I'm like, if I go and try and find other bands, it's going to be so tough and I'm going to be so disappointed. It's going to be difficult. And I love this electronic stuff. I want to give it a try. So I went and sold all my drums. I sold my cymbals, my cases, all my touring equipment, because we used to play shows all around Australia, everywhere. So that was a big, like, all or nothing. Like, I am committed to this. I love this that much. And I used that to buy more studio equipment. Like, I think I got, some more. It's still all hardware at that point. I hadn't been using a computer. And I wrapped up an EP. I finished a bunch of songs. And to get it onto something that everyone could play, you could just start to get CD burners at this point. And they were way too expensive. So I rented one from like an audio shop, the kind of one where I recorded my jam onto DAT tape live. I'd have to just hit record and perform the song. And then I'd plug it in real time record it onto the CD burner. It doesn't burn at double speed or anything, or multiple speed. And for each demo that I wanted to hand out to people, I had to sit there and in real time record another one. I handed those out to DJs in town in Sydney. I took them to clubs that I liked, that I'd been checking out, and I'd give them, hey, this is my demo, man. And some people would put it on straight away, which was really cool. And some people would call me later and be like, hey, man, this is actually pretty good. And some of them linked me up with a local label in Sydney called Floating Point at the time. And they loved it. They wanted to sign it and sign me. And we did a whole contract and all that kind of stuff. And they had an incredible studio. We ended up getting the first record out in, I think, 2003.
Wow. I feel like making that switch from drums to electronic music, electronic gear, and producing, it was all such new cutting edge technology. Drums and guitar have been around for a minute. They're pretty established, instruments. But I could see how there was probably just like this sense of like excitement and discovery of like, whoa, this is all very, very new. It wasn't mainstream. It wasn't popular yet. It wasn't really even accessible that much yet.
Oh, totally. No, it was just something I was obsessed with. Most of my friends that were still more into the kind of the rock stuff. Some people were into DJing a little bit, but the live electronic stuff was pretty rare. I mean, sure, it was probably bigger, you know, in other countries, in other cities and stuff, but it was pretty new for us and for me. So yeah, that was my new punk rock for me.
I like that you were saying, you know, you were obsessed with it. I want you to take me back into the mindset and even the feeling, because back then there wasn't the big glamorous DJ lifestyle, right?
No, not at all. No.
People weren't doing it because like, oh shit, I could make a fuck ton of money and travel the world and like get hella girls doing this. Like that sort of ego part of it really wasn't there yet. So what was it
Not
that
at
was
all.
actually, what was really driving you then?
Just the music. I mean, I've always loved music, whether I was playing drums or any other instrument or just listening to music, always been obsessed with it. And the fact that I could just make my own, I suppose maybe it's because I could like envision something and have an idea in my head and then like create it, bring it into a tangible space in a way that you could listen back to it and be like, wow, I made that. And then if there's something I didn't like about it or it wasn't quite right, I could go and change it. I could shape it to be what I wanted it to be. And if there was something, a vibe or a song I wanted to hear that didn't exist, I could try and make it, you know, and it's just so fun. It's the same reason I still love doing it. It's just so fun.
Yeah. And I really want to highlight that point because, you know, I work with so many people that come to me that have these massive blocks around making music or, you know, chasing their artist dream because they're putting so much fucking pressure on themselves to be like, I have to make this work. Like, I've got to go to full time. Like, this is my career. I want to get signed to this label or I want these goals so bad. And then it's like, it's completely cock blocking the creative process. It's like, you're not doing it because it's fun, and it's not fun. Like, I can't tell you how many people I run into where I'm like, yo, you're not having any fucking fun doing this. So something's off. And I think it comes back to the why, to the purpose. Like, are you obsessed with it? Are you having fun in the process of it? Are you getting fulfillment out of like putting those little pieces together and getting things to click and manifesting this sound into reality? You know, does that part of it excite you? Because I just feel like a lot of people are almost having to do that part to try to get to where it is that they're trying to go. And they're not actually in love and obsessed with the process. I think it's really important that you fucking love what you're doing.
I agree. Yeah. And I'd even go as far as saying it should be the first thing, and my recommendation should be the first thing in mind. I would even say like use fun as your compass. On any decision you've got to do with music production or your music career, be like, well, what's the more fun thing to do here? Like if you're sitting there having a mental block or a creative block in the studio, ask yourself what would be fun right now. Maybe it's just, you know, you got a new sample pack you want to look through. Maybe there's a new synth you want to play with, but you feel like you'd be meant to be writing a hit today. No, just do whatever is fun. Good stuff will follow because you're following what's fun, and good music will follow. I think time and time again, if I've done it or other people I've seen do it, if they try and write something where they're not having fun, where their soul is not really in it, the art doesn't turn out very good. It feels forced and contrived, and even a non-producer, a regular listener will listen to the song and be like, yeah, it's okay. But those ones where you actually love it, you're actually really enjoying yourself and you're just doing it for you, they tend to be the best songs. They also tend to get finished the fastest, which is crazy. Like all my biggest hits I've ever had, and my peers say the same, their biggest hits too were done in the shortest space of time. They were usually done in one day or half a day or something, and they were done without any pressure, just thinking, oh, this would be fun, or I'll just make this for me, and it ends up blowing up, and you never expected it.
Yeah, and I definitely want to dig back into this the creative process, because I know you have a lot to share. But before we get there, I would love to hear about how you made it from Australia to the States, and you know what the rest of your artist career looked like. Because yeah, when we met, you were living in LA at the time, touring, playing shows. So obviously, buying that gear worked out for you. You figured something out, pressing all those buttons. So when did you come out to the States, and what happened with the rest of your artist trajectory there?
I think I did my first show in America in 2009. I think it was a New Year's show with Will Bailey. I think played somewhere in San Fran. But I'd done a whole bunch of shows in Canada before that. I suppose to backtrack how that came about, my first international shows I organized myself through contacts from other producers. Like I'd signed some tracks to some labels in the UK and made some friends with people there, done some remixes and things. And it was just like, oh, I want to go and play other shows. You know, I was playing a lot of shows in Australia. I had a residency and things were going great. And I'd always meet the headline DJs and talk to them. And they should be like, you should come over and play, man. You know, you've got what it takes. You're doing all the right things. So I just worked with those contacts of, I think a great way to network is like this, where you do it naturally through the music. You're not trying to just network. You make music with people, and you pretty much always end up becoming friends, and then doors start opening. So organized that tour in UK by myself, and went with a friend of mine, Nik Cherwink. We went over there and did a bunch of shows together. A couple of spots in Europe too, I think. That got the attention of some agencies. And not long after that, there was a UK agency that wanted to sign me. I forget the name now. And I think maybe I picked up another one after that. I can't remember. I already had an agent in Australia doing my bookings. Yeah, someone from Canada started bringing me over for some shows there because that was easier. The work visa is a lot harder in America. And then the American one happened because I signed with Spin. I was going to a music conference every year called ADE, the Amsterdam Dance Event. Super helpful. Well, back in the day it was anyway. Probably still pretty helpful. And I met with the guys from Spin there one year, and we were talking about they were interested in signing me, and we ended up all liking everything that was talked about, went for it. And I really needed them to get me the American visa. You kind of need a sponsor. But you also got to prove a whole bunch of stuff because the category they put you in on is an extraordinary alien. And to get that, you have to be the top of your game from whatever country you're from. So you have to prove, like you've had national awards and all these kind of things and status of something, I don't know, chart success in certain shows and whatnot. And then, then they approve it. And then I came over and started playing a bunch of shows, and I was like, this is great. I really love playing shows in America. I love the crowd, love the vibe. I was going like maybe 4 times a year, each time 2 weeks a trip. And I started going, why am I living in Australia and loving all these shows I'm playing over there? Why don't I flip it? I'll go and live in LA, and I can come back and play in Australia, do it the other way around.
It sounds like a lot of this was kind of organic for you.
Absolutely.
It doesn't sound like it was very forced, or that you were forcing things to happen or pushing them to happen.
No, not at all. I mean, when I was only in Australia, there was that desire to play in other countries because I'd heard about all these amazing clubs, and that's where so many of my favorite producers came from, but definitely not forced. No.
I think that's really important, and interesting, kind of back to what we were saying even about the songs, where if you're trying to make a hit, like I'm gonna get in the studio and I'm gonna make a hit. I'm gonna force this hit to come out. It's never gonna happen.
No.
Right? And there's something about that as well with just, I don't know, our goals in life in general. That on the one hand, this is sort of a I always talk about like masculine energy versus feminine energy. Your masculine energy, that's that driving force, and it's good to have that, but there's also sort of this feminine surrender energy of like, well, also just let things happen and kind of go with the flow and trust that things kind of work out, right? So obviously you were working and you were doing it, but you were just kind of chasing the fun, like you said.
And loving the music and loving the process. I was just having so much fun doing it. And I mean, even if it didn't take me to other countries or didn't get me those shows, I would still be doing it. I love it.
Yeah. And just I'm thinking out loud right now, just me articulating my own sort of inner frameworks that are always clicking and popping all the time. But I'm thinking about how the industry is very different now, right? It is, well, I'll just say oversaturated. There's a lot more people doing it. There's a lot more technology. There's just the industry is totally different, right? Like the industry has been formed. The industry was still very new and still coming up, and there was like kind of a lot of space, and now the industry is so much more established. And so on the surface, it might look like we have to force things to happen a little bit more. Maybe it can be a bit more strategic of like, okay, cool, I got to release on these labels. I got to get this manager. I got to get this agent. Like there is a bit of a formula to it. But I still think that underneath that, the universal law and principle of following your heart, chasing the fun, loving the process, like just being a fucking cool, good person, like following the energy, regardless of where the industry is at, and really regardless of what you're doing in life, I think that's still going to apply, right? And I'm saying this because even myself as a coach, like I am oftentimes helping people navigate the business side of it, of like, okay, well, cool, here's how the business works, and this is sort of what, you should be working on and what you need to do. But also it's like underneath that, the driving force, your energy still needs to be in a good place. The driving force still needs to be like, I'm doing this because I love this, and I'm being driven. I'm following the fun. I'm following my heart. Like, that's just a part of being human. That's, I think, always going to be there, regardless of the industry and where it's at.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably the best reason to do it, really, just because you'll love doing it, and it's going to be fun the whole time, and it helps those decisions and helps sort of guide your path. Yeah, you kind of end up doing things for the right reasons in a way. Like I wasn't relying on a certain external outcome to keep going. I was relentless because I just loved it. I'm like, that was my drive to get up and write the next song, or to stay up late finishing that song, or to learn something new about production or mix down or whatnot, just because I loved it, not because I was like, well, it's because I'm going to get this signing, or I'm going to play this tour. Those things are fun. When they happened, I was stoked. Sure, I appreciated them. But I wasn't relying on that. So I was just having a great time the whole time.
What would you say to a young artist that's pursuing this path that is really stressed about it and putting a lot of pressure on themselves?
Oh, to definitely take a step back and have a look at how they're doing everything, because it shouldn't be stressful. It should be fun, and it should actually be easy too. There's way too many things I see, especially through my music school that I run. I see so many students overcomplicating things, and it's not their fault. There's just so much misinformation out there, especially on YouTube. I mean, it's not all bad, but there's a lot of bad stuff. And there's this belief I noticed that people come to me, they'll have this belief that music production has to be complex because you don't know any different. And in a way, we all love music so much, right? It's such a big part of our lives. If you're a music producer, you have a special connection to music. So when you think about your favorite songs and your favorite producers that made those songs, and this song is so incredible, you put it on a pedestal, like it must have been so complex to make. But often what you find out when you meet some of your heroes and you talk to them and you find out about the song, you're like, actually, it was really easy. It was just them being in the moment, having fun, not caring what anybody thought. And this is so important too, being true to yourself. And this is easier said than done, but just doing what you love and not caring about what other people tell you to do, or what is popular in your town, or what you think will make money. Just do what you love and you'll make the best art. I think
Amen.
If you focus on these kind of things, you can't help but kind of get onto the right track. And you want to be enjoying it, because careful what you wish for, man. What if you're not enjoying it and you become successful? Then you're going to be expected to keep not enjoying it. So
Oh yeah. I'm getting artists that are coming to me now that are full-time touring artists that have built a really great business for themselves, and they just announced the fucking headlining tour, and they're like, I'm in this position where now I have to keep making music for the machine that I've created, and I'm not really inspired to. I'm losing the passion for what I used to make, and my heart is going in a different direction, but I have all these expectations of what I'm supposed to be making now. So there's this really interesting point in people's career that I'm seeing happen often as well at kind of that higher level. But exactly what you're talking about, and this is the thing, I'm just bringing them right back to exactly what you said. And this is the foundation of the Art of Flow class that I used to teach at Icon Collective. Just the basic idea to be in the moment, fuck what anybody else thinks or any sort of expectations, come in with no expectations, and just make whatever feels good in that moment. And usually some cool shit's going to come out. Sometimes it might be garbage, and that's okay. Be unattached to it. But when you do tap into that magical, plugging into the electrical outlet of the universe and download the creative energy, it's like, boom, that's where you create your best stuff. And those are usually where hits come from. But it requires letting go of expectations, or I'm going to make something to get onto this label, or I'm going to make something, for this. It's like, no, just do what feels cool and what's fun. It's
Absolutely.
almost so simple.
Yeah, that's probably why it's not so intuitive because it seems too simple. And yeah, like I'm saying about with people assuming songs have to be complex. But you're
Yeah.
right. There is a kind of a flow feeling, and I've definitely experienced this many times where, yeah, you just kind of let go, and it's almost like you'll make, I don't know, one move, like you write some part or something, and then you'll accidentally find some sample and be like, oh, that's good. Yeah. How about it? Oh, that works. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, it's done. Whereas I see sometimes a newer producer that might not be as experienced with this, and every single decision that comes up in their process, they think about it just way too much. They're like, what about, oh, should we try 10 more hi-hats first? Oh, does it need some flanger? Or, like, just roll with it. Just, just
Yeah.
go. Just don't overthink it, basically. Just if it feels good, it's good. If it sounds good, it's good. There's so much misinformation on the sonic part of this too, where people are freaking out about sounds they can't even hear. Like all these people just doing terrible things with EQ, cutting all the low end out of their sounds because they see it moving on the analyzer. And I'll ask them, can you hear it? Like, turn your EQ on and off. Can you hear that it made a difference? It kind of sounds the same. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, you might think, well, what's the problem with that? Like, if we didn't change it, I'm not hurting anything. But the problem is you're getting distracted from the moves that matter. You're focusing on busy work instead of actually learning how to EQ and actually how to write music and stuff.
Yeah. And it's not every time, but I think a lot of the times the reason people get stuck overthinking is they're trying to make what's the right decision, what's the best decision. Yeah. And that's attached to this song needing to be successful in some way or needing to be a hit in some way, right? Like, I need to make sure that this song is perfect and I make all the right decisions, and this is going to be the song that I put out that gets signed and changes my life. Like, on an unconscious level, that's the thing that's happening, right? So that's just an important piece to look at when you shift out of that and just like, hey, I'm making shit for fun, and let's just make whatever wants to come out. It's a very different approach.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's perfectionism.
Yeah. And so now we're getting into some production stuff, and just to backtrack a little bit, tell me about first off, what inspired you in the first place to start teaching and coaching production? When did this start?
Well, I mean, I kind of been helping people with production off and on, like not like seriously, for a long time. One of my friends was reminding me of this the other day. Might have been one of the earliest examples. I was teaching him production when I was 18, and I totally even forgot about it. That's how we became friends. He wanted to learn how to write drum and bass. I'm like, yeah, I can show you how to write drum and bass, and so started teaching him stuff just as a friend. And we ended up DJing together, producing together, and doing all sorts of stuff later. And off and on, there's been throughout the years, especially with my first record label with Vacation Records, I was always coaching my people I was signing, often wanting to bring on new talent and helping them out with the skills I'd learned to help their tracks be the best they could be, their mix downs and things, songwriting, all sorts of stuff. But I guess this when the school came about in 2016, so I'd taken some time off for the reason we just mentioned before. I'd gone too far in the wrong direction with my music, and I was like, I'm not really vibing what I'm writing these days, and I'm not enjoying the process. I want to take some time off and have a think about what I'm doing, because this used to be fun, and this is not right. And there was just too many carrots being dangled in front of me, especially in America, with like, they seem like small things, and people could easily listen to this story and be like, I would never make that mistake. But trust me, when you're there and your agent's like, if you just made this slight tweak to your song, we might be able to get you in this booking. Or if you do this, we can get you on this radio station. If you do this little change, all these little changes start adding up.
Yeah, all these external voices.
Yeah, this input from your team, from all the different people. Yeah. And they don't seem like terrible changes at the time, just small things, but they add up. And after a while, you look back and you're like, this doesn't really sound like me anymore. Like, what am I doing here? Still playing really big shows and having a good time at the shows. So I'm like, I used to have this way I would describe it to myself about how my music should feel. Like, my music should feel like if I'm driving down the street, I want to have the windows of my car rolled down with my music cranked, and I should be stoked about it. I should be like, this is my shit, And I didn't feel like that. there was other music I was listening to which I thought was cooler. I'm like, why am I not writing this other stuff? So I took some time off to have a think about it. Fortunately I could, which is great. And I had a bit more time to reply to my followers, which is really interesting because when you're busy producing and touring all the time, you always get loads of messages about, oh, do you want to do a collab? Can you check out my track? What questions about this and that? And you just honestly don't have time to reply to them. But now I did. So I was just sitting there just writing back to people, and someone sent a track. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll check it out, have a listen. I'll give them some feedback, and wow, that helped so much. Thanks so much, man. Like, oh, glad to help, and started doing a few more here and there too, and just really enjoyed the fulfilling feeling of helping other people like that. And it was popping up more and more. I was like, you know what? I should try something. What if I did some actual like focused help for people? So I sent out a message to my email list and stuff and said, all right, I'm going to try something. I don't know if I'll ever do this again, but for 1 month, I'll take on a handful of mentor students. And I'll help you guys out. We'll do 1 lesson a week for 4 weeks with all sorts of stuff. I don't know, with whatever you need help with your music and music production. And it had just sold out in like 5 minutes. I was like, whoa, wow. This is what you guys really want. Damn. Like,
Yeah.
Actually, someone even said, because I was talking to people before and said, what do you guys actually want? Like what out there, like what kind of music, what kind of things? And someone said, oh, we love your music. We love your tracks. It's awesome. But more than anything, we want to be you. I'm like, oh, I can teach you how to do that. Yeah. So, I took some students on, and it was a blast, man. It was awesome. Super fun, super fulfilling.
Super fun. Isn't it so fun, dude? It's the best. Like, it feels so fucking good. If anyone out there, here's the thing. If anyone out there, because I actually had an artist friend hit me up recently who had someone ask about helping them mentor, and sometimes there's some hesitation. It could either be maybe imposter syndrome, who am I to help somebody, or maybe like this is not aligned with my brand, or what are people going to think of me? Go fucking help. Go help people. Go serve. Go coach. Go teach. You don't even have to charge for it, but like it's so fulfilling, and it's because you're just it's not about you, it's about them. And that's what we all need a little bit more of. So just want to hammer that home. If you're on the edge, if people are asking you and they're coming to you, that was what happened with me at when I was working at Icon. I had students coming up to me and they're like, hey, we want you to be someone asked me, can I be their mentor for the quarter? And I'm like, I don't teach production. I don't know shit about production. I can't be your mentor. They're like, no, I want you to mentor me on the life stuff. And I was kind of like, oh, damn. All right. The universe is like calling me to do this. And so if let this be your sign. This is what I'm saying. If you're listening now, if you have people asking or you're thinking about it, the fulfillment is life-changing. So I'm glad that you've gotten to tap into that.
Oh, I completely agree, man. And, it also gave me a side to express myself in my love for production so much and for songwriting, because in a way, I've had moments when I was younger and touring and stuff and thinking, put so much work into this and there's so many things I've learned. I don't actually need all the knowledge I have to be a producer and stuff. I've kind of overloaded myself. And then I'd sometimes see people DJing and producing and stuff too, and their stuff is okay, but to the general public, we're all the same, right? And I feel, deep down, I feel like I've got something more to offer, but I don't know how to share it. I don't know how to do this. And this gives me an opportunity to kind of geek out on all that stuff when people come to me and they're like, why doesn't my song sound like my Heroes track? I'm like, oh, let me show you. Let's go. It's this. And you're going to love it. And that's so fun for me doing that. It's so fun seeing them succeed. And there's heavy moments too, which are really powerful. When people come to me and they're like, and I said, what, show me your music, and how long have you been producing for? And they'll say like, 15 years. I'm like, wow, it's a long time. How many tracks have you had signed? And they'll be like, nothing. I'm like, damn, man, that's brutal. Like, we got to help you out. And he goes, I really need help. Like, I told my wife, if I can't get something happening by the end of the year, I'm just going to have to quit and accept that this is not for me. And I love this, but I just takes up all my time. I spend all my money on plugins and software and hardware, and it's just not going anywhere. And I'm losing my mind. I'm so sad and frustrated. And I'm like, man, dude, I've got you. I can help you fix this. We turn it all around. And it's usually just a whole bunch of misinformation that needs to be corrected. And they'll get their tracks finished. They'll get their tracks signed. Their stuff start sounding as good as their heroes. And they start getting the feedback they want from big producers that are playing their tracks, and they're just blown away. They're pretty much coming to tears and like, oh my God, I didn't think this was ever possible.
Yeah, dude.
That's amazing, man.
That's what it's all about right there. That's what it's all about. I love that, man. It's cool. So For me, I have sort of a basic framework that came to me. It was really after starting the podcast where I started to realize there's basically 5 main areas that you need to really focus on and master to become, like a successful full-time touring artist. And, first really is the mindset. And that's what I like focusing on. I'm like, if your mindset isn't in the right place in the first place, if you don't believe in yourself and you don't have good habits and you're not all in, all these mental blocks, like you're stuck at ground zero if you don't fix those mental blocks. But then I guess the second step, really, you got to have good music.
Yeah.
Right. Because the better your music is, the easier everything else is.
Oh, yeah.
Right. You can have you kind of can have mediocre music, but also the other areas are to have a really good brand, be really good at marketing, and be really good at networking. And this is your lane, is like, all right, get that music dialed in, right? Because if that's not, like I said, like it makes the other parts a lot harder. Like, yeah, you got to get your, put your tracks out and do your marketing and build a brand and all of that. But the foundation of it needs to be that you've got good music.
Totally. Yeah. And you're right. All those things are important. They are essential. All of them. Yeah. We just tend to focus mostly at our school at basskleph.com mostly on the music. But we do help people out a little bit with mindset stuff too. So I can totally relate with all those topics you're saying.
Yeah.
And
well, the mindset touches all the other categories. It doesn't ever go away, right? There's your mindset around music, your mindset around branding, your mindset around networking also. Like, you're scared to go out and talk to people and shake some hands and send some DMs. Like, all right, that's going to stop you also. So it shows up everywhere.
Totally. And then it absolutely puts a ceiling on how far you can go. Like, there's people I've seen that have great music, but that last step for them is getting that mindset right to actually take it to the next level. Some people, they can't even get started because of the mindset too, though, because they keep getting stifled. So it's super important.
Yeah. So what's the school called?
Basskleph.com, just like my old artist name, BASSKLEPH.com.
Okay. So what is the program? How do you structure things over there? Tell me a little bit. If I was a new student, let's say I actually want to finally start learning how to produce. Stu, I'm ready. I'm ready to dive in. Hook me up. What does this look like?
So we focus on 2 main things, teaching people how to finish great songs fast and getting a pro sound. Because they're the 2 main things I've just found people keep struggling with that are just massively important on the music side of it. Like, you got to write good music, but you also kind of got to write it fast. And there's too many people just writing loops and not getting them finished. And they're getting stifled somewhere along the way. Like, really, the whole process from when you lay down that first kick drum up until you sign the record contract should be a smooth, straight line, right? But then there's so many times when halfway through it slows down or even completely stops. This doesn't need to happen. We fix this kind of thing. We find these roadblocks and be like, okay, this is just because this part, no one's explained this part of the process to you, or they showed you the wrong way. And we can show you the right way where you can just fly straight through, being as creative as possible with a big smile on your face, and be left with enough energy to do it over and over again and enjoy it. Because also finishing songs makes you a better producer as well too. Each time you take something all the way across the line, you learn lessons about how you're going to start the song again afterwards. And there's loads of people out there going, yeah, I'm a good producer, I got this, but they're not finishing tracks. So they keep making mistakes at the start because they haven't seen how those mistakes will impact them at the end in the mix down or when they send it to the record label. You know, you got to go through the whole thing. It's kind of like calling yourself a baker, but you never switch the oven on. It's like you're just kneading dough, man. Like you gotta do the whole process, take those lessons, stick them back in over and over, rinse and repeat, and then stuff starts getting really good. So we show how to make that process easy and fun because honestly, it absolutely can be. People are just making things way too complicated. If your production feels complicated, you're probably doing it wrong, and it's not your fault. There's just way too much misinformation out there.
What are some of the areas and sticking points that you see people really struggling with in the process? What are some of the common ones?
Overall, mostly complexity, like too many parts, physically too many notes, layering things too much, putting things in too many groups, too many of everything. Strip it all back, and I'll probably still tell you it's not simple enough. But yeah, like I'm saying, like there's all this stuff that people think is normal, like that So many people have been told that they have to layer a sub bass under their bass, and for like 95% of people's songs, they don't. Things that just blow my mind. But YouTube's a bit of an echo chamber. Like somebody will give one piece of advice, and there's a whole bunch of people on there that have some experience, but maybe not enough. So they just repeat back the same advice, and it's all just bouncing around over and over again, and everyone just takes it as gospel. And I'm sitting there just face palming the whole time, going, "Oh my God, where did you guys come up with this stuff?" Like,
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm starting to hear some good guiding points here. The first one that we talked about earlier was follow the fun. I love that. That's always going to be my favorite one. That's at the top of the list.
Yep.
Also, less is more.
Yep.
You're probably overcomplicating things. What would be another main bullet point for people?
The whole theme of it comes back to complexity. People, even whether they're maybe just using too many plugins and over-processing things, or whether they're making their melodies too complex and too busy. I think that there is a common thing too where you can easily get caught up when you're writing a song that you're trying to make each individual part as amazing as possible. Like, this is the best bass line ever. This is the best lead ever. It's so complex and tricky and original. Problem is, when you put complex on complex on complex on complex, it just sounds like a mess.
Yeah.
Music is meant to be... like coming from my band days, there's parts that are in front and there's parts that are there to support. You're taking turns. Like, not everyone is the hero. It's a team. Yeah. It's a team that works together. So it's important to keep that in mind. It's easy to get sucked into just the one part you're working on, but you're the conductor, man. You're the designer of this whole sonic world. So you need to identify with your skills and knowledge. Okay, that's the thing I want the listener to focus on now. These other guys are here to support and make that guy look good. And when we get to this moment, I'm going to switch the attention to this, and I'm going to do it in that way, because you can't ask the listener to do that. You can't say, "Oh, there's 50 parts. They can hear them all at once." It's like, no. You have to make the decision for them. You're the producer. You guide their ears. You guide, I want you to pay attention to this, and then that, and then that. And we can absolutely do that with music choices and sonic choices.
I feel like you must have really learned that being a drummer, because I grew up playing the drums also, and I was in a metal band where all I wanted to do was fills every single measure, just like, how crazy can I make this? And it's like, you know, sometimes you actually just need to keep the fucking beat and chill out and make it a little more simple.
Like, look at AC/DC.
Yeah.
Super simple drums, and it sounds amazing.
Yeah. We reconnected recently because you also partnered with my brother, Chris Alba, from the Cult Creatives, and you guys partnered on putting out a branding course, which is super cool because, we've talked about, pretty much all of these 5 pillars, from mindset, making good music, and then once that music is made, we got to put that music in like some kind of a package, because as we do know, becoming successful as an artist now these days is about more than just the music, right? It is about building a following, building an audience, and why are people going to follow you, right? That's where your branding comes in. Marketing could be a year-long course itself. How do you actually get your stuff out there, and what are all the tricks and tips for that? You did also earlier talk about networking, just about how you were meeting people at different labels and playing shows in other countries, collaborating with people, right? Like, there's some networking in there also. We've hit almost all of these categories. Tell me about this course that you guys put out together with Chris.
Yeah, for sure. It was super fun to do. Chris is a longtime friend, and he's done some branding for me in the past when I was still producing as Bass Kleph. I mean, these days I just do my other projects like Analog Soul and Maxell Davis. But Chris got in touch. We were just catching up one time talking about it. And he's saying, hey, you like what we're doing with the school? And to circle back to, we're just asking about how people would start with the school. Usually either with things like mentoring or other courses, like the Road to Main Stage is probably the main one that guides people along that path. And most of our courses are on music production, music theory, all these kind of things. So this is the first one where we've done, which is more about kind of like the outside of it, like the stuff that's a part of it, but maybe not the music, and it's the branding part of it. And it's, I think for a lot of people, it's just the voodoo, the missing thing where you're just like, what is that thing? I don't know. How does that work? How do I even approach that? Do I have time for that? Do I only do that when I'm famous, or is that super expensive? And it is actually super expensive if you hire a professional, even like Chris because he's good at what he does. He's really damn good at what he does. So I said, would you ever consider doing a a course with us to help our students with this stuff and share some of your knowledge. And he's like, I'd love to do that. That would be amazing, to get them started so they can do this kind of thing themselves, because it's just so mysterious otherwise. And maybe the best way to think about it, because a lot of people confuse branding with marketing as well too. Branding is kind of like the style of you, or the vibe of you as an artist. Like, it's kind of like, if you think about like a favorite movie or something that has a certain aesthetic to it, that's kind of like the branding of it. Like, I don't know, like Sin City or Star Wars or something, or Blade Runner. There's a feel and a vibe to it, Like if you saw a Blade Runner poster, you can already kind of imagine what it's going to look like before I even, I wouldn't have to show you. And that's what branding is for artists as well too, to have that feeling of this is the aesthetic. Because your music is your sonic aesthetic. This is the visual aesthetic that goes along with it. And it can communicate a lot. It can communicate a lot to your fans so that they know, oh, this is my vibe. This is something I want to know more about. And this is something I want to be a part of passionately. This is something I want to wear on my t-shirt and be proud of, because I feel like I connect with it. That's me too, so it's giving them something to believe in a way too. I suppose it's putting more of your taste out there, so people who like your taste can connect with you, and you guys can run together. So it's super helpful for that, for people to understand you. It's super helpful once you've got that set up, for labels, for bookings, for, even getting collaborations, for anything you want in your music career. Having your branding dialed in will just make all of that easier. And it will make your own decisions easier, because you kind of have sat down and taken the time to figure out, what am I actually all about? What am I actually trying to achieve here? And then suddenly the path becomes really clear, because you've gotten rid of a whole bunch of options. Instead of thinking, I could do anything. No. I have a clear picture, a clear path. I will do this.
Yeah. No, 1,000%. I think really understanding who you are as an artist and what you're trying to say. We know that it is about more than just the music. I like what Chris always says is the music is just the soundtrack to the movie.
Yeah.
What's the actual movie? What's the movie about, right? And a lot of artists haven't really taken time to sit down and think about that, right? Like, okay, I'm going to put out tracks, cool, but sometimes I see artists where it's like, okay, all you're doing is just posting about your music and your top 5 DJ songs and your whatever. I'm like, okay, that can kind of carry you so far. Most likely, you're probably going to get a lot of other followers that are other producers too, because all you're talking about is how you're making your music or whatnot, and they're probably not going to be the ones coming out and buying tickets and going to shows, right? You want to build like a bigger fan base. You got to have something to say, right?
Yeah.
Something to say, something that you're about, something that you stand for. Also, like the vibe, the look, like how are you presenting yourself? All of that makes a big difference. What I've been saying a lot lately to clients is like, if there's a lineup of 10 different artists in front of me and everybody's kind of making more or less the same music, not the same music, but it's all great, good music that I could and would listen to. Why am I going to choose to follow this one artist versus the others? Like, why is this going to become my favorite artist? And it's probably going to be because of more than just the music. There's something else about that person that I resonate with. They've got a similar story to me, or they have the same values. There's just something about them that I'm attracted to. If we're not showing those parts of ourselves also, we're actually losing out on the ability to have a deeper connection with our fans. So as you can tell, I love branding stuff. I've, done so much stuff with Chris as well. The branding world is really, really cool. I love seeing you guys come together to create that. So if anyone needs help with branding, definitely go out there and check out that course. And you mentioned also that you have, you're not really doing the bass Kleph project per se anymore, but you have some new projects that you're doing. What are those called?
So when I took that time off, around the time I started the school, I had the choice of this new music I make. Should I keep it under bass Kleph, or it's an opportunity to, as we're just saying, rebrand and do something new and have a fresh start? And I thought, I think I might do that, because I changed styles so many times over the years. I wanted to kind of do something fresh and really plan it out, the look and feel and everything from the start. So I started this project called Analog Soul, and it's kind of named after my love of analog synths and sounds and 80s kind of nostalgia, and soul being like Spanish for sun. I love sunsets and stuff too. And I was thinking all my favorite shows as basically always the ones that were like sunset parties, beach parties, boat parties. I'm like, I want to make music for those moments and go and play those moments. They're so fun. And I love that vibe. So I'm like, that's got me going down that path. And yeah, man, it kicked off really well. Like I think the first track got signed to Armada, a track of mine called Trinidad Dreams, still doing super well for me. and put out loads and loads of tracks since then too. The style is kind of, I've done a few different things, a bit of melodic house and techno, a bit of Afro house, a bit of deep house. It's heading more down the deep house sort of direction a little bit these days, but it's loads of fun. It's totally driven by fun. And I wanted to bring back something as well from when I started, which was playing live electronic music. That's how my first things were all live, wasn't DJing. And I kind of put it to the side because everyone was DJing. And so I just kind of, I don't know, went with the crowd. And I don't think I should have. So I got back into doing all this stuff live. Absolutely love it. It's so fun. I played a bunch of live shows with it now as well too. I do loads of live videos and been connecting with, building my audience around that, people that also appreciate and love live music. And we can connect over that and give them tips. And I'm actually thinking about maybe even doing some training on playing live now as well too, because I keep getting people asking me, how do you do this? How do you do this?
Yeah.
But it's super fun with the whole kind of live synthesized type thing. And the latest version of my live show is something I've really been wanting to do since I was a kid. It's totally improvised. Like, I don't even know what I'm going to do when I get up there. Yeah. And, I remember having a memory when I went to one of my first big music festivals. I was like 17, 18, and I saw these guys up there playing, right? They were DJing. I thought they were playing live or something. I didn't know anything about it. Anyway, big crowd. Everyone's going crazy. I'm just like, as a drummer, I'm like, wow, they're making all this right now? That's amazing. Yeah. And then I only realized later, they're DJing. They're, pressing play and the track plays. Sure, there's a lot more that goes into DJ than that, picking the right song at the right time and all these things. But just not my teenage imagination. That wasn't happening. Yeah. And then years later, as I get into production, I start to realize, okay, it's actually incredibly difficult to play totally improvised dance music. Slightly rehearsed, much more doable. But with some recent technology that's come out and combining it with what I've learned over the years, I've been able to now start doing it. Yeah, there's this sequencer I use called the Torso T1 that really helps for just improvising and changing things up on the spot. And man, it's amazing. Yeah, they're super, super fun. Love doing the analog soul stuff.
I love how many times you use the word fun in the last few minutes as you were telling me about your project. And if you're not watching on YouTube, this guy's the biggest smile on his face as he's saying everything that he's doing. You're obviously very, very lit up about it, and obviously continuing to use fun as the guiding force. And I also love, just to point this out, you're also diving into this sort of live improvised music making technology. It seems like you're also still kind of pushing the boundaries of like where things are, similar to when you started, right? You were finding the new technology. And I always say that there's two different kinds of producers. There's the producers that want to find the formula of like, this is my sound and this is how it works, and I've cracked the code and I'm searching on how to find this sort of destination. Mm-hmm. And then there's the ones that are like more so constantly seeking the next thing. What's the next new way that I can try things? And so I see, there's a bit of it both of like, hey, here's some systems and some processes that you can follow with production and what works, what's going to make it easier. But also like, let's keep trying new shit. Let's keep pushing the boundaries. Let's keep seeing what else is out there.
Totally. Exploring is, again, so fun. Like just seeing, I love this stuff. And I guess I'm still the same kid, still up playing with my machines, making weird sounds and having a great time with it. And still, even sometimes maybe if I'm not sure if I feel like it or something and I have a quick jam and then suddenly I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Let's go. Come on. All right. I don't need a crowd to have a good time to play as well too. I'll be jamming by myself all the time for hours and just having a great time. Yeah, it's awesome, man. That's how I write all my music now is I just jam and I record it multi-track, and then often I'll post snippets of this just so I'm sharing it with people. And if people come back and everyone says they really like one of the songs, I'll go and mix it down and put it out.
You just tapped into a really, I think, cool and interesting shift that we're seeing happen now of, it used to be that like, let me write this song, let me put it out and then see how it does.
Yeah.
And it's like now you can put out a snippet and see how it does and see like what's vibing. Like you have like an audience that you can test your music out to. Kind of like a DJ would go out and test their tracks out at the club. If you got a following on social media, like you go test your stuff out there and kind of see what pops off. And also just, I'm seeing a little music business strategy, but then it's like you can also use that as leverage to then go show like, a record label like, hey, I posted a snippet of this song and it got 100,000 views. Do you want to sign it? You're now coming with metrics to the label. So just to nerd out on a little music business stuff there, but
absolutely right, man. Yeah, and I love this kind of system because it feels like I'm sort of connecting more with my audience and they're involved in the process a bit more. And I love all the stuff I'm jamming. I have a great time with it, and there's loads of songs. I'll be excited to finish. But I may as well ask them too. What do you guys want me to finish next?
Yeah. Well, speaking of fun, speaking of following the fun, I've had a ton of fun catching up with you. It's so rad to see everything that you're up to, everything that you've built. For anyone that's out there that is looking to get help with their music production, all you out there that are overcomplicating your shit and want to finish tracks more quickly and get tracks actually done, not have 100 songs that are 80% done sitting on your laptop, you know who you are. I'm calling you out right now. For anyone that needs help with their production, as well as anyone that's also, trying to figure out their branding, where can they go to check out the courses that you offer?
To our music school, basskleph.com, basskleph.com. Yeah, you can see all the stuff on there, and there's loads of great free stuff as well, too. And if you have any questions, you can drop me a line on there, and I'll get right back to you.
Hell yeah. When I'm ready to finally learn how to produce, I'll hit you up and get in there with you guys.
I got you, man. You should do it anytime.
Make some beats.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for taking the time to hop on today, brother. Super good to see you.
Thanks so much for having me. Super great to see you as well, too. Let's do it again soon sometime.